What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to the WARFRAME video. So we just had a double credit weekend start on all platforms. I want to show you guys my most up-to-date Profit Taker loadout because yes, it does seem to change every couple of months here. But currently, I have every single element covered. It's a lot of stuff to show. We're going to show you how to do the Profit Taker with every element covered on Chroma, so double credits that means. Before we get into it and go over this stuff, make sure you sub this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads. I'll also be live on stream probably like an hour or two after this video goes up with drops on the channel. We got, Arcane shards, Void Plume pinions, etc., etc. So you're in the right place for Warframe content. Let's get right into going over how this is going to work with Chroma. And yes, we do have some new items compared to the last Chroma video like 2 months ago. I've actually even changed my primary weapon that much too. Alright, so the big changes with the Chroma loadout for Profit Taker, and why would you play Chroma for Profit Taker? The fourth ability of Chroma doubles the credits dropped in mission while it's down. So that means when the Profit Taker dies, the big like level 5 spider on Fortuna, the credits it drops are actually a pretty large amount. So Chroma's fourth ability doubles those up and gives you a ton of credits. Additionally, you could use the store-bought credit booster to give more credits. You can also use the Smeeta Kavat charm buff. If the RNG is in your favor, the charm buff will double the credits again. So you can get millions of credits just from beating this the normal way you usually would do that. So let's get into what new gear items we're using here today. So for as far as the pylon phase, I've switched from the Zenith to the Ogris. You might remember me saying the Kuva Ogris is a good weapon for this in a previous Chroma video. And I finally, learned how to do this. And it's actually a lot easier than I thought. I was like, hearing people are telling me like, oh, Gaz, you have to memorize every single pylon location to use the Ogris. And I'm like, I am not doing that. So instead, we're just using the Ogris the way that normal people use it without having to memorize the spawn locations. And you just shoot the Kuva Ogris at the pylons, and the explosion of the Kuva Ogris damages the pylon, and with the Nightwatch Napalm Augment mod, it will burn the pylon like through the shield. It's much easier to use than the Zenith, and also it doesn't require like 200-day login like the Zenith does too. So really nice stuff there. We'll show that build in a second. And additionally, as far as the electricity, since I'm not using the Zenith anymore, you do not use your Ogris to shoot the boss. The Ogris is used only for the pylons. We're using a Operator Arcane that makes our amp do electrical damage. That's how our electrical damage should be covered. So yeah, we have every single element covered as long as, things go properly here. So as you can see, I'm using the Ogris here, shooting through the pylon shields, and it's quite easy. With the Zenith, you had to actually aim. With this, you don't have you're firing a rocket launcher at a gigantic sphere, so it's a lot easier than using the Zenith. So as far as the elements that we have to rely on some RNG for, it's going to be the cold element. The only element that is not really covered is gas and cold on here, but that is covered with our Elite On-Call crew member using a Kuva Zaw, and they just like to spam those shots. Additionally, our Arcwing gun does have cold on it too, so you can use your Arcwing gun to do the cold element. Let's go over every single. This is the problem with Profit Taker videos. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. So I just showed you a full run through right there, a pretty casual run. Let's go over every single gear item I use in this loadout. All right, so here we go. So we're in the dojo for a reason. Oh, by the way, when you're placing Chromas 4, after the second stumble on the spider, place it on the back left leg. That's how you can easily get the double. And yes, the Chroma doubling of credits works for everybody, guys. Just make sure they're nearby the pelt, like within 10 meters of the pelt, okay? If they don't do that, then you're not going to get double credits. And they're like, I don't think Chroma works for the team. People always tell me, like, Chroma doesn't work for the team. You just don't have the Chroma that's doing it right, honestly. So, all right, with all these strategies, you'll get millions of credits, especially during this double credit weekend. And let's start off with the Elite On-Call first, because that's the only reason I have to be in the dojo, because you have to go to your actual dry dock to check this stuff out. It's very annoying. I wish you could check this in the ship. Oh, but yeah, we're going to go over here, and for crew members, you don't have to have you can have a normal on-call. It does not need to be an Elite On-Call, but I do have an Elite On-Call right here. So we have Hoba. He's got 5 combat, 5 endurance, and preferably to 5 repair as well. It's really not important to have 5 repair, but if you want the most god roll of all god rolls, you want 5, 5, 5 in repair, combat, and endurance, but 4 is totally fine. For the special passive of this guy, he's got the Heal on Kill. Heal on Kill is the one I like the most for general missions, but you can get increased primary crit chance, or rifle crit chance, or secondary crit chance if you're using one of those weapons instead. But for the purpose of this video, a non-elite would be totally fine. As far as the weapon we're using a Toxin Kuva Zaw on the crew member. And the build is going to be gas and cold. This is the only source of gas damage I have in the entire loadout, so you need to rely on this guy to not be dumb sometimes. If the crew member is being really dumb, remember you can shoot the orb with your operator amp to switch elements if it's a really dire situation. But yeah, as far as the build, fire rate, Bay of the Corpus, gas electric, or sorry, gas cold, and the Arcane doesn't really matter. I just put primary frostbite in there because I have it. And yeah, just this is the build I'm using for the crew member on the Prophet Taker, with a Toxin Kuva Zaw. Okay, so we don't really need to talk about anything else in the dojo. I mean, if you have 10, 10, 10 intrinsics as well, that would be great. You need level 10 command intrinsics to get the elite on call. Just a heads up. So if you don't have that maxed out, just use a normal on call, I suppose. All right, so let's go back to the ship because I don't need to be. I can't actually show you operator stuff in the dojo, unfortunately, because yeah. But the only reason I was in the dojo was for the elite on call. So yeah, get one of those with a Kuva Zaw. Toxin's fine. As long as it has gas and cold, it will be the same thing as my video. Now, here comes the operator amp part. This is what it's going to cover our electrical damage type, which I do not have on anything else. And honestly, the amp I've chosen is not really min-maxed. Our focus tree is going to be Materai, though. We're going to use Void Strike to damage the spider with the operator amp. So we've got Virtuous Surge. On hits, converts 98% of the void damage to electrical damage. This will take out that spider's electrical shield, okay? So this, and whatever good amp you have. I've got the 177, the 147, Replock, Pod, and Certus. So as you can see, lots of electrical damage right there, 2,800, and a little bit of void damage. So this is what I am using right now. Of course, you could switch to like a full auto amp if you prefer, but make sure it has good range. Like, if you want to use the tier 4, it's not the Lega. I can't remember the names of these operator amps right now. It might be the Ron Prism. This is a full auto one right here. That could be pretty good. But I haven't tried it yet, and it's also got less damage. So I'm just going to use the one I have right now. It's very good for this, and I could technically min-max it a little bit more. The other operator amps, amp arcanes don't really matter. As long as you have Virtuous Surge and Eternal Onslaught, you'll be doing plenty of damage to that orb shield. All right, so as far as the other new items used here, we have the Kuva Ogris. Don't worry, I'll show the Chroma Build. But yeah, the Kuva Ogris, the element does not matter. I got a 60% heat, which is probably the best one to use, but again, it does not matter. And as far as the build, the only thing you really care about is magazine size, funny enough. Because we have so many damage buffs on Chroma that, the magazine... And there's so many pylons that spawn. There's like 6 pylons that spawn at the final phase. So you want to make sure you have as much magazine size as possible. You can shoot as many rockets as you need. So, magazine size here, magazine size here. Nightwatch Napalm is a must-use mod for this, as that fire will burn the pylon through the shield, and that's very good for what we're doing. Multi-shot is very important. I have a multi-shot Riven, which is nice, but this Riven feels kind of useless here because of the low disposition. And we've got Fire Rate, and Amalgam Serration for a little bit more damage. Terminal Velocity for projectile speed, and Primary Merciless for reload speed. That's really all it is. Just you're using this to break the pylons and nothing else. That's why it's going to be very important. You have a very good Tenet Diplos. So we'll go over the Tenet Diplos here as well. Okay, so that's a new item there. Now for Chroma, I did change the build a little bit compared to the last time. I am no longer running a Vigorous Swap, which is probably not the best idea, because Vigorous Swap gives you tons of damage. I put on Energy Nexus instead, as I am running Nourish, and we're getting about, let's see, we're getting like 12 energy per second with Energy Nexus. Chroma was buffed, but the Chroma buffs don't actually do anything for Prophet Taker, sadly enough, because you're doing the mission so fast. There's no enemies to really kill for these Vex Armor buffs, so we have to do the good old-fashioned way with Chroma. So nearly everything else in the build is exactly the same as the previous video, besides Energy Nexus instead of Vigorous Swap. And if you want to use energy pads in the mission, you can still run Vigorous Swap for more damage, but I just don't want to be running energy pads constantly, so I put on Energy Nexus, and it feels pretty good. Arcane Nullifier, because this spider likes to drop magnetic procs on you constantly, so yeah, completely immune to magnetic procs. And Arcane Grace. We are running a Decaying Dragon Key to get our Vex Armor buff easier, so this is a nice little bit of health regen. We have like 1,000 health, so it's a good amount of health regen. And we also have our Elite on Call with the healing passive giving us more health regen as well. So I like Arcane Grace. You could probably go more damage on this and take off this for more damage as well, but this is nice and comfy for me. Holster Amp, when we swap weapons, we will do more damage. It's basically a mini version of this. So I usually have this right here, but for comfort, I'm just going to put Energy Nexus for now. Most important weapon on the entire loadout is probably the Tenet Diplos right here. Magnetic element, and it's going to have a 60% magnetic element at that. As you can see, we have lots of elements on this thing, so we'll be using this as our main DPS weapon. Now, if you don't have a double elemental Riven, which I would highly recommend having a double elemental Riven for this, you're going to want to take off multiple mods to put on a combined element again. So as far as what we have on here, we have corrosive, magnetic, radiation, heat, impact, puncture, slash. So we're covering a lot of elements with this thing. So as far as the important mods, accelerated isotope gives you built-in radiation, and then we have a magnetic roll, so we have radiation and magnetic before anything is really like combined elements. We've got the double elemental riven. Like I said, if you don't have this, you don't have a double elemental riven, you should try to get one. But if you just don't want to, rivens ain't gonna work today, guys. Go with you can go with a toxin mod here, an electric mod here, but you don't really need that badly because you have melee exposure on your contagion Zaw, which we'll go over in a little bit too. But yeah, that's the build right there. This thing is considered a Corpus, so run Expel Corpus Prime version if you have it. So fire rate, you know, just good stuff. Double fire rate mods. This thing auto reloads while holstered, so it's quite nice. And this is our main DPS weapon for this fight. Our other main DPS weapon is the Exodia Contagion Zaw. We've got Vargeet Tujai, Plague Aquin, and Plague Kiwar. But any like good Zaw would work for this as long as you got, basically if you got Vargeet Tujai and a fast grip. So Vargeet Tujai, Pei Satfan, Vargeet Tujai, Sikala, Rabvi, and then, you know, that kind of stuff. As long as you got Vargeet Tujai and fast attack speed, that's all that really matters. You know, even this one, Vargeet Tujai, Pei Bala. So if you have a good Zaw Riven, that's all that matters. I just use this one because it looks like a candy cane and it's funny to me. Alright, so Plague Kiwar is the one we got right here. Now, as I said earlier, if you don't have a corrosive Riven for your Diplos, you could just use this instead, or, you know, I'm using both, to be fair. But I just like the Diplos is easier to shoot and less contagion throws. So, on ability cast, gain corrosive damage on your melee strikes for 25 seconds. That's going to be working on your contagion as well. Now, as far as what we got here, we got Radiation, Viral, Toxin, IPS. And also, don't forget the contagion does do blast damage innately as well. So this is going to cover blast damage too. So yeah, just a pretty similar situation. These new radiation mods are very helpful for the Profit Taker as it covers radiation very easily. And yeah, they're just, you know, Smite Corpus as stated earlier. This thing's a Corpus. And the Riven is critical damage, attack speed, melee damage, and Mias Infested. Not exactly the best Riven, but it's good enough. So yeah, very nice stuff here. This will do tons of chunks of damage on that Profit Taker's health. You could throw on a Exilus mod too. I don't have one on there. Let's see, what would be a good one for this weapon? Something that costs low energy, apparently, because I have no more mod drain left. Let's just do Dispatch Override. I don't even know if I'm ever going to have heavy attack with this, but, you know, it looks wrong not to have a mod in that slot. Okay, yeah, Exodia Contagion is needed for this one as well, guys. It's a projectile attack. Okay, so now here comes the... As I said earlier, there's a lot of stuff to go over in these videos. Selected items could not be loaded. Oh, come on! They won't show me the cat! Alright. Alright, so the Arcwing gun I'm actually using my Necromech. I'm not even using the actual Arcwing gun. I'm summoning my Necromech and it's using the Arcwing gun for me. So as far as the Necromech build, it doesn't actually matter, because you're only having this thing hold your Arcwing gun. So this is what I got. I don't know what size. I don't know why it says impact, puncture, slash here on the Necromech, but oh, it's the melee stats. Got it. All right, so just yeah, whatever you got, pretty much. Just throw on any mod you have maxed out on the Necromech. This one's more important though. This Corvus. So the normal Corvus, not the Corvus Prime, and the reason for that is the Corvus Prime and the Corvus Normal are very different performance-wise. This is a pellet shotgun. The Corvus Prime is like an Arcaplasmor shot. Now, if you don't have a Riven on this, it will not be as consistent, but this will one-shot Profit Taker's legs without charging the shot, okay? And no damage blessing from the relay required. But it's not going to feel very good until you have every mod on here. As far as Rivens, I'd recommend Multi-Shot, Elementals, Band of the Corpus, and maybe even Critical Chance could be kind of okay. But yeah, we've got Critical Focus on here, which makes it have more crit chance, crit damage than you actually see on the Arsenal screen. But the build here is Radiation Cold. That's what the Profit Taker's legs are weak to, and the Profit Taker's body for that matter. So yeah, Prime Robito Line Barrel, Riven with lots of Multi-Shot, because these Arcwing guns don't have very good mods. Containment Breach is a new Arcwing gun mod with Multi-Shot and Radiation. And yeah, the rest of the stuff is just, you know, standard stuff. Crit, Radiation Cold. If in a dire situation, if your elite on call is not firing off the Czar with cold damage at the boss, you can just, you know, have this. You can last resort switch to this to take down the boss's shield. As stated earlier, we do have a Decaying Dragon Key equipped to give us less shields on purpose, so we can get that Vex armor buff easier on Chroma. Let's see if I can actually show you the cat build, if the game wants to, like, you know, cooperate with me. Okay, cool. It finally showed it. So this is a low-level cat build with Link Health and Link Fiber, because Chroma has lots of armor and health. And the big thing here is just making sure you have Tenacious Bond active to give you more critical damage. Nice for your Diplos. And the rest of it's not really, like, there's not, like, you know, specific things you need on here. I would love to put on Reinforced Bond for more fire rate, but we're not actually modding for enough shields where we can actually have this active. So unfortunate, but it's not that big of a deal. So, and the reason this thing is on is because this buff Charm can give you double credits again, and you want to get lots of credits from doing this. So if you do everything I showed in the video today, you can be getting you know, really quick runs, like around 2-ish minutes, like 2 minute 20 seconds ish. And we're also using Nourish. So remember, everything on, it's like you might be like, where's the Viral? Viral is literally on everything. Viral is the easiest element for us to cover because we have Viral on everything besides like our Operator amp. So yeah, guys, I will see you on stream later today. I'll be doing Profiteer help runs. I'll probably try to go over 1 billion credits. We'll see. I've been kind of having some issues outside of the stream recently, so let's hope it doesn't affect anything going forward. But yeah, I'll definitely be farming it out. As you can see, like covering lots of elements. There's the Operator amp doing electric damage. It's super, super easy. So see you guys next one. Hopefully it's fun. Hope I didn't forget anything. I think I showed everything. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. Peace.